Okay. Again, thank you guys. Thank you, Ms. Dunham, for having me here, and thank all of you for taking the time to listen. So my name is Mike Stanton, and I'm here today to talk to you about a number of topics that relate to the human brain. And your classmate here is passing out some little rubber brains that'll go on the end of your pencil, but to give you an idea of what we're talking about. Before I start, everybody get one? Okay. I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been married to my wife, Mary Ann, here for 11 years. I'm the father of 4 kids, ranging in age from 3 to 9. I live on the northwest side of Chicago, and I work in law enforcement. As Ms. Dunham said, I'm also the co-founder of an organization that deals with matters of the brain. And over the course of our conversation today, we'll talk more about that and how it relates to my being here. But before we get started, I want to show you a short clip of my family, as they will be a part of what I talk about today. And the background on this clip is that we had just gotten a new computer, and we were all kind of sitting there messing around with it, and we found the video button, and here it is. You want me to turn the lights down?
Yes, please. Is it okay? You just have to wait for it
to load
up on the...
So it's just about 35 seconds. And
don't worry, we don't have to replace the lamps. We get this signal all the time.
okay.
But Lance, you do see that we might need to replace the lamp sometime? Hopefully it's not today. It should be. Here we go.
There we go. The volume up?
Here, let's watch it all the way from the beginning out.
All right, thanks. So that's my family, and that's why I'm here today. So first, let's talk a little bit about the brain, okay? Your brain is the boss of your body. It's what lets you remember your way to school. It's in charge of your breathing and in your heart rate. It makes sure that your muscles move correctly and that your food digests correctly. It also allows you to dream while you're sleeping, and it allows you to dream as well of all that you want to accomplish in your lives. Your brain, in other words, is the most important organ in your body. It controls everything that you do. Now, does anybody know what an organ is in your body? Any ideas? I'll tell you. That's okay. It's a structure that performs a specialized task in your body. And an example of this is your heart. Your heart is an organ that pumps your blood throughout your body. Another example is your kidneys. Your kidneys are right here. You got 2 of them. And your kidneys clean the blood that moves throughout your body. Obviously, both very important organs. The big boss of your organs, though, is your brain. And it weighs in at about 3 pounds, and it's made up of billions of cells called neurons. And the way that your brain and your neurons oversee your body is by sending messages to and receiving messages from the rest of your organs and the rest of your body. Now I'm going to show you a picture of a neuron here. I just pass one around. But a neuron is just a little cell like this. It's got all these different parts. We're not going to talk about all the parts, but it's what makes up your brain. You got a billion of them in your brain. So you can pass that around if you'd like. And you can see on the way that the neuron works is it sends messages to the rest of your body, and it sends them via your nervous system. So here's your nervous system in blue, and you can see it goes up to your brain, and the messages from the neurons go throughout your entire body, and they tell the rest of your body what to do. So you can pass this around. Now, an example of your brain in action is when your hand comes near a flame. What does your hand do? It pulls away, right. And why does it do that? Because your brain sends a message through your nervous system to your hand that says, it's hot, move away. So what we're going to do now is give a little demonstration on how this works. And so I'm going to need 10 volunteers to come up here and join me for 1 second. Now don't all jump up at once.
Shy, go ahead and do it. Kadisha, get up there. Nada, you're not shy.
Come on, I need, right here we go. And you're going to get the most important job for being the first one. You, right here, right next to Ms. Dunham here. And you can stand right next to him. Everybody face that way. And then you come over here. The next 5 of you right next to each other there. There you go. You're right here. Sorry. Here we go. Come on over here. All right, this will work. And you two. You'll be all the way at the end here. You'll be here. You four in the middle. That's good. That's good. So we got here, like we talked about, moving your hand away from a flame. Why does that happen? Because your brain senses that your hand is near something hot, so your neuron sends a message through your nervous system to your hand to move your hand away from what's hot. So she's hot. She's the fire. You're the hand. You four are the nervous system, and you two are the neuron. So when your hand comes near that flame over there, what the neuron here does is fire. And the way we're going to show that is you're going to throw your hands up like this. Go ahead. Fire. Okay, now hold on. So the neuron here fires, and then it touches the nervous system here, and the nervous system turns to this, turns all the way, turn, and then it gets to the hand here, and the hand receives that message from that firing neuron, and the hand, who is close to the fire, realizes that that hurts, so the hand moves away from the fire. So that's how it happens. Let's do it one more time. The neuron fires, go ahead, and the message travels along the nervous system to the hand, who moves away from the fire. There you go. Thanks, guys. So that's, in a nutshell, what's going on. Now, apart from overseeing and being in charge of the physical processes of your body, like moving your hand away from fire, or your breathing, or your digestion, your brain is also the one and only organ that, in effect, makes you who you are. What do you guys think that means, that your brain makes you who you are? Your personality, right. Your brain is in charge of your personality, in charge of your likes and your dislikes. It gives you the capacity for art, for language, to make moral judgments. It's responsible for your emotions, and for your memories, and for your dreams, and for your ability to solve problems. And that's part of why we're here. But as with any organ or any part of your body, your brain can have something go wrong with it. In the case of the brain, one of those things that can go wrong is it can have a seizure. Anyone know what a seizure is? Who said that? No? Okay. A seizure is abnormal activity in your brain. More specifically, it's an abnormal electrical discharge in your brain. So remember what the billions of cells that make up the brain are called? Neuron, right. And those are the cells that send and receive information to and from the other parts of your body. And they do this by, as we showed, they fire the message. And these are electrical and they're chemical messages down through the rest of your body. Well, when some of the neurons don't work correctly, that is when they misfire. So, instead of going like this, maybe they go like that, or they do something. We don't know exactly what it is, but they misfire. And when that happens, that can cause an interruption in the way that your brain works. And that interruption is what can cause a seizure. So when a seizure occurs, your muscle control, your breathing, and your consciousness can all be affected. So anyone tell me why that might be?
The neurons are connecting and they're not working properly?
Precisely, that's it. It's because your brain is unable to send the right message to the rest of your body because of that misfire in the neuron. Does anyone ever seen a seizure or know what a seizure looks like? What happens when someone has a seizure?
Sometimes they like start to shake and
Right.
then like they fall down.
Right, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Two things that can happen.
And they can't like talk, like they like
You foam at your mouth,
Yeah.
your eyes can roll back. Some seizures are that, you fall down.
Yeah.
Other ones are your body shakes. Another thing that can happen is your body gets very rigid. So there's many different manifestations of what happens when a person has a seizure, and it is a frightening sight, believe me. And I remember hearing a story about a group of doctors who were asked what's the kind of the scariest situations that they encounter in their profession, and you would think it would be treating gunshot wounds or car accident victims or other gruesome things like that, but overwhelmingly these doctors said that witnessing a seizure is one of the most frightening aspects of their profession. So it shows you that this is what a traumatic event it is, not only for the person having the seizure who's fallen down or foaming at the mouth or eyes are rolled back in the head, but also obviously for anyone who's witnessing the seizure. So does anyone know what you would do if you encountered someone who was having a seizure? Don't touch them, correct. You might touch them in a sense that you would gently position them so that they don't choke, right? You might want to roll them on their side in case they vomit and they don't swallow the vomit. You want to move them away from any sharp objects. You don't want to constrain them, but you want to lightly contain them so that they can't bump their head or hit anything that's on the floor. What's one thing that you never want to do when you encounter someone who's having a seizure? It's a tricky one. You don't ever want to put something in their mouths. They may look like something's going on with their tongue or they're choking, but you never want to interfere with that. You just want to lightly protect them so that they don't hurt themselves. You can call 911. That's always a good idea if you ever witness someone having a seizure. And you just want to be there and say reassuring things to someone. They may wet their pants when they're having a seizure. That's often you lose control of some of your bodily functions. But remember, it's just a misfire in the brain that's causing all this. So all you can do is be there and be calm with them. Now, there are several reasons why people can have seizures. Is anyone aware of any of those? Go ahead.
Like sometimes it's like in genetics, so like maybe another relative had it before, we could also do that.
Seizures can run in the family, that's correct. Another reason is if you have a very high fever, sometimes you're more likely to have a seizure. If you hit your head, there's a possibility that you could have a seizure. If you have a brain infection, you got a likelihood of having seizures. And what these are all very well-known reasons for having seizures. Now, if you have 2 or more seizures that are not attributed to any of these reasons, then you're likely to be diagnosed with what is called epilepsy. So that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today is epilepsy. And does anyone know what epilepsy is?
Christina. It's like another word for it is like an absence seizure. I know, so it's like when somebody has a seizure and like they don't know it, it's kind of a short one, so it's like a short amount of time. But it's like it's hard to, like it's an absence seizure. So it's like a really short seizure that like the person doesn't really know that they're having.
Right. You're right. An absence seizure is one type of seizure that a person with epilepsy may have. But epilepsy is a term that is an umbrella term that covers all different types of seizures, like the ones that we talked about, where you fall down, or you get rigid, or you shake, or an absence seizure, like you said, where you stare. But overall, epilepsy is a disorder of the brain that's characterized by recurring seizures. And if you remember, why do seizures happen? A misfire in the brain, right. So let me tell you a few things about epilepsy. It's a disorder of the brain that is commonly referred to as a seizure disorder. It's not a mental illness, and it's not contagious. You can't get it from someone sitting next to someone with epilepsy. For people with epilepsy, seizures can occur at any time. They're difficult to anticipate. And because of this, people with epilepsy have a lot of problems. They can have a lot of problems. You know, it's hard to drive. Studying can be hard. Playing sports can be hard. And just participating in a lot of social activities, because there's a great uncertainty as to when a seizure is going to occur. Epilepsy is one of the oldest disorders that we know about. It's referred to in books going back 2,000 years. So we know that it's been around a long time. Some of the common ways to treat epilepsy are with medication, or through a special diet, or even with surgery. You might have brain surgery to try to cure it. And epilepsy affects an enormous number of people in the world. In the Chicago area alone, 130,000 people have epilepsy. And across the United States, that number goes to 3 million. So that's about 1 in every 100 people in the United States. So the chances are that you guys all know somebody who has epilepsy. Even if you don't know they have the disorder, you know, you're acquainted to them in some respect. And worldwide, the number of people with epilepsy is 50 million. So it's an enormous problem. But here's the big one for me, is that 45,000 new cases of epilepsy are diagnosed in kids 15 years of age and younger in the United States. And that's a lot of kids for a disorder for which there's no known cure yet. So that's where you guys are going to come in. And the other big fact about epilepsy that jumps out at me is that in all the time we've known about epilepsy, no one's been able to cure this disorder. 2,000 years. So we've talked about the brain and about its functions, as well as about something that can go wrong with it, namely epilepsy or seizure disorder. And this leads me more to tell you about why I'm here speaking to you today. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the co-founder with my wife Mary Ann of an organization that deals with matters of the brain. And the name of that organization is the Danny Did Foundation. And it's named after my son Danny, who died 2 weeks before Christmas in 2009. So Danny was only 4 years old, and I'm going to write up here what Danny died of.
You can just move on that. You can move the magnet and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So that says SUDEP, S-U-D-E-P. And that's an acronym for sudden, unexplained, death in epilepsy. SUDEP. So here's a picture here of the kids you saw in the video. Everybody see that okay? Now they all look happy and healthy, right? And that's Danny there. Now Danny was an engaging, athletic, affectionate, intelligent little boy who had his first seizure less than 2 years before his last seizure killed him. He only seized while he was sleeping, and to our knowledge, he only had 5 seizures in his life, including the last one. You know, even though Danny had seizures day in and day out, nothing else about his behavior suggested that there were any problems. We knew he had the seizures, and we were treating him with medicine. He took his medicine twice a day, every day. We never gave a problem. And there was no indication or warning that Danny was at risk to die from a seizure. Now, one of the reasons that I'm here today is because you're taking a health career class, which means that you might like to consider the study of medicine or other pursuits related to impacting the health and well-being of people. There aren't many nobler pursuits out there, so I commend you for being here. And it's in a class like this that you may look back on one day and recall as a turning point in your life. Something that persuaded you to really take the next step toward a career that may have an impact as in curing something like this. I hope that's the case. And I'm going to take a moment here to share with you a remembrance of a turning point in my life that's the reason that I'm here with you today. And I'll do this by just reading something to you that I wrote about that moment, that turning point. And it's a moment that occurred in my house on December 12, 2009. So I'll just read this to you. Here it is. It was 7:14 in the morning. I was laying in bed. Basketball at Brooks Park was on the menu for the morning, maybe some Christmas shopping in the afternoon, and probably another Saturday night get-together with the Duffys. They were at our house the previous night, so maybe that night we'd head to their place. We'd probably get a pizza from Super Rosa or maybe from Malnati's. We'd let the kids decide. Either way, the kids would play Wii in the basement and the parents would sit around the dining room table and let it be. It would be another great Saturday night. And then boom, it was 1 minute later. 7:15 in the morning. Mike, oh my God, Mike, he's blue, Mike. He's not breathing. Mike. My wife, Mary Ann, blitzed into our bedroom with Danny's 38-pound body drooping across her arms. She had found him in his bed. She handed him to me. I rushed Danny's lifeless body downstairs to our family room. I called 911. I called our next-door neighbor, who was a paramedic. I attempted to resuscitate Danny. A quick check streamed into my mind. I remembered learning this in a junior lifeguard program 30 years ago. A was for open the airway. Quick was for give 4 quick breaths. Check was for check for breathing. Am I doing this right? Did you hear that? Was that a breath? Danny. His eyes were closed and a little open too. I peeled back his eyelids. I looked into his eyes. The paramedic who lives next door arrived. He has known Danny since March 2nd, 2005, the day Danny was born. He knelt over Danny. Danny was dead. He had died of a seizure while he was sleeping. And so that's what happened in our house to our 4-year-old son on December 12, 2009. And that's exactly one half of the reason why I'm here speaking to you today. The other half is to tell you what I've been up to since that day and to show you that the decisions and the choices that you make with regard to your careers can and will have a meaningful and a measurable impact on the world that we live in. So the decision that my wife Mary Ann and I made subsequent to Danny's death was to establish the Danny Did Foundation. So one of the first things that Mary Ann and I said to each other after Danny died was why? Why did this happen? And how did this happen? And we quickly realized that we had no idea that this could happen. We didn't know that you could die from a seizure. And we just as quickly determined that having that knowledge of our son's, or not having that knowledge of Danny's condition was unacceptable. So we started doing some research. We wanted to know 2 things. We wanted to know why Danny's doctor didn't tell us that he could die from a seizure. And we wanted to know, was there some sort of device out there that existed that would have alerted us that Danny was having a seizure while he was sleeping? And the reason that this second point is very important is because after Danny started having seizures, she slept in our bed with us for 6 months because we weren't sure what was going on. But after the medication and tests and you know, talks with the doctor, we thought that Danny was okay. He was coming out of the woods, so he went back into his own bed. So that's why we wanted to know if there was something out there that could have, you know, alarmed when he was having a seizure. Because when he is having a seizure, you know, we could address his seizure. We could give him medicine. We could call 911. You know, we could position him correctly. We could be there for him in his time of greatest need. And so Marianne and I embarked, in a sense, on new career paths for ourselves when we established the Danny Did Foundation. And we decided that the focus of our path would be to achieve several goals. What we were going to do, and what we are doing, is we would advance awareness of sudden unexplained death and epilepsy, of SUDEP, so that people who suffer from seizures know about this. Another thing is that we challenge and we encourage doctors to talk to their patients about this, because they didn't talk to us about this. And the third thing that we would do is to seek out technology in the form of medical devices that will alarm when someone is having a seizure while they're sleeping. Our idea to find this device that can detect seizures while someone is sleeping is where we started. Our first thought was that there must be something out there that exists that could do this. We were quickly informed by doctors that no such device exists. Our second thought was, no, you know, the technology or the device that does not exist is a time machine to bring Danny back. So our third thought was that we're going to find or we're going to develop the technology or the device that'll do this. It'll alarm when someone's having a seizure while they're sleeping. And it didn't take us too long to find this device. And so what we did was we contacted the company that makes it, we tested it for ourselves, and we decided that doctors have to know about this because up to this point, they didn't. So we partnered with some friends from the Epilepsy Foundation of Greater Chicago, and we started meeting with doctors at hospitals around town. And we were very warmly received by many doctors. More importantly, though, is that we sparked an interest in this device. These doctors said we weren't aware that this device or this technology existed in this form. And so since our initial meetings with these doctors, we have worked and worked and worked to get this thing tested in hospitals in a clinical setting. And the importance of that is that doctors aren't going to recommend something to people who suffer from seizures if it doesn't have a rigorous set of data behind it that says, you know, this works. So we have accomplished this goal right now. It's currently being tested in hospitals, the device that we found. And in addition to that, we've also provided 30 of these devices to families across the country who couldn't afford them, you know, through the Danny Did Foundation. And in addition to those 30 families, you know, just as importantly are thousands of other families who are aware of this type of technology and can consider it as an option for their care of their kids or even adults who suffer from seizures. We also, in our pursuit of finding this device, we traveled to Finland. Marianne and Johnny and Tommy and Mary Grace over the summer, where we were a part of filming a segment about this device, and it's currently airing on television stations across the nation. And I can show you the segment that we filmed. I'll turn the lights out.
Which one is it?
It's the Today in America. So it's about 5 minutes long.
We have probably about 10 minutes of class time left.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Innovation is the cornerstone of success in America. In order to compete in the global marketplace, businesses and individuals are continuously striving to stay ahead of the game. I'm Terry Bradshaw. You know, from emerging technologies and
Yeah.
financial strategies
start?
to the latest healthcare developments,
I don't know
you
why.
would be surprised by the many factors coming into play. Welcome to Today in America.
How do you get out of here?
Here.
Huh? Oh. There you go. No, it's moving now. Maybe when you... Oh, there it goes, yeah.
While sophisticated medical technology is available in health systems across the globe, further advances are constantly being made to better the lives of countless individuals. Let's explore the next generation of medical technology. It's a tragedy Chicago, Illinois area residents Mike and Marion Stanton will never forget. Their 4-year-old son Danny passed away in December of 2009. His death caused by a seizure experienced while sleeping.
Well, Danny only had seizures during his sleep, and on several occasions we were able to catch his seizures. We could address it then. We could protect him. We could call 911, administer medicine, time his seizure.
But the last time, we were unable to revive him, even after frantic attempts by ourselves and by medical professionals.
Not long after Danny died, it occurred to Mike and Marion that something must exist which could have spared such a tragedy.
Well, our first thought centered around a device that could monitor vital statistics that would attach to somebody, such as a pulse oximeter. We thought then at least parents or loved ones could be alerted to the seizure and then be able to protect the child.
The Stantons discovered that a device of the sort already existed in Europe and was far more advanced than what they had conceptualized. Finland-based MFIT Ltd. has developed new technology that monitors major vital signs and movement without attaching anything to the patient, collects data, and shows it elsewhere using either a local network or the internet.
One of the most time-consuming demands is having to check on patients' well-being. And this is often done from door to door, and at nighttime can unnecessarily wake patients. MFIT has a number of solutions that can monitor patient movement and vital signs without having contact to the patient. No cuffs, no electrodes. It all goes through the mattress.
The company's core technology consists of a thin plastic under-mattress bed sensor and a control unit or monitor. Presence and movements in bed are detected by a person's vital signs from the sensor under the mattress, and the monitor or control unit provides notification to caregivers. The technology has been integrated into products used for patients in nursing homes, hospitals, seniors living alone, and parents who have children with epilepsy. 192 beds at Kontula Elderly Care Center in Helsinki, Finland are equipped with MFIT's technology.
MFIT for nursing homes produces customized alerts that will send alerts to nurses if a patient intends to leave the bed, has left the bed, or has not returned to bed within a preset amount of time.
Well, the most important thing is that the system increases the safety of our residents, especially at nights. The very important thing is as well that the system is completely invisible because this is home, this is no hospital.
At the Helsinki University Central Hospital, doctors are assessing the technology for hospital validation.
We hope that with implementation of this technique, we would be able to transfer the patients more rapidly to the ward because we would have a reliable and easy way of monitoring vital signs there.
As part of the Danny Did Foundation, a not-for-profit corporation created in honor of Danny, the Stantons are working to get the MFIT product tested and analyzed in hospital settings in the U.S. to help prevent deaths caused by seizures.
Well, we know no technology will ever bring our son Danny back, but he's with us every day in our mission to prevent deaths caused by seizures.
Yeah, and we're working to bring the MFIT technology to families with kids who have seizures so that they don't have to go through what we've gone through. So that was our trip to Finland, and that's it's been quite an accomplishment for the foundation so far that we've been able to get this device recognized. So we just have a little bit of time left. One other thing, in addition to this technology, like I said, is that we want to let everyone know that SUDEP exists, because so many people with epilepsy just aren't aware of this. And to that end, we've printed close to 20,000 brochures that we distribute across the country. And there's some of them up here. If you care to grab one after class, take one with you. These have been very well received by people who just want to know the facts about what's going on. And as far as, what is SUDEP, sudden unexplained death in epilepsy, and why does it happen? The simple answer right now is that no one knows. Researchers are studying it, doctors are studying it. They don't know why it occurs, and that's why we're here. Part of our foundation is to assist in helping find those answers. So what does all that mean for us here today? Well, like we said, the fact is that 50 million people across the globe suffer from the neurological condition that's epilepsy. And the fact is, as we discussed, epilepsy is caused by abnormal activity in the brain. We have 50,000 people dying from this every year in the United States. They're not all dying from SUDEP, but they are dying from the effects of epilepsy. And so what that means for all of us here is that there's a great deal of work to be done. In my role with the Danny Did Foundation, I've met with dozens of doctors who are studying this problem. And that's as it should be. But for now, the fact is that what happened to Marianne and me on December 12, 2009 happened to another family yesterday. It's going to happen to another family today, and it'll happen to another family tomorrow. And why is this? Because no one yet knows why sudden unexplained death in epilepsy occurs or how to cure epilepsy. So that's where you guys and your brains come in. Through your careers and your dreams, you could be a part of curing this disorder. Our goal in talking to you is that you may take this introduction to epilepsy and to sudden unexplained death in epilepsy and decide that you want to pursue a goal, a career path in medicine or in healthcare. And you guys are at a point where you're able to understand this and you're able to make that decision as you're thinking about college and what you want to study. But we also engage younger kids in grade school through basketball clinics and kickball tournaments, and we sponsor their baseball teams. And the reason we do that is because even though we talk to doctors who are world-renowned for their study of this disorder, no one's found the cure yet. So we engage younger kids through fun activities with the thought that as they get older and get to learn about the Danny Did Foundation, their interest in the foundation will change, and their ideas about how they can help will increase. So I want to thank you guys for having me here. And before I wrap it up, though, I'd like to tell you about the name of the Danny Did Foundation. How did that name come about? And on the day that Danny died, I found myself at the funeral home talking to the funeral director, and she was writing Danny's obituary, and the obituary includes relatives' names and the time and date of services, as obituaries do. And when she was done, she read it to me and she asked if there's anything I'd like to add. And so I told her to add as the last line was, "Please go and enjoy your life." Danny did. So Danny did enjoy his life. Danny did take his time in life, and Danny did engage others in his life. And that's what I urge each of you to do as you investigate if a path in healthcare is the one for you. So thanks you guys for listening, and that's it. Before we go, I want to let you know there's the seizure brochure I told you about is up here. There's some information about the Danny Did Foundation. My business card is up here, and there's a quiz here. If you want to take it, send it back to the Danny Did Foundation. You can find the address on the website, and then we'll send you a bracelet.
Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, yeah. One other thing. Somebody pick a number between 1 and 25.
13, 14, 8, 4, 13.
Keep going.
19.
Who said 19? You win. What size sweatshirt are you? Small? All right. Huh?
Why 19? Oh,
Yeah. Danny's favorite number is 19. So here you go. It's a nice sweatshirt for you. Thanks for listening. Thanks, guys. All right.
take the information, you guys. No, Nana, you can't. Well, yes, you can. Mike
Thank you.
Ears all the time. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May, this is something you might want to think about next year with STEM.
Thanks for being the lead neuron.
Maybe